everyone, I'm super excited for our live stream today. We're going to be doing coding. We're going to be building our infrastructure as code using TypeScript, Pulumi, and the cloud provider we're not sure because I broke a few things. I need to explain myself to David since our last live stream, but I hope you're all having fun. But before we get into that, I'll let David do an intro. I'm going to go get his YouTube link so you can go and subscribe to his awesome YouTube channel as well, and I'll share it in the chat. So David, over to you.
All right. Well, thank you for having me. My name is David. I'm in Glasgow, in Scotland. I YouTube at the Raw Code Academy, and he's going to get the link for that. And I'm very active in the cloud native Kubernetes ecosystem. I kind of make it my mission to just help people improve their Kubernetes knowledge and expertise, both at the operator level, but as well on the consumer developer level. And I'm hoping to share some of that knowledge today.
Awesome. That sounds great. We always learn so much from you, and I know you're a massive expert in this field. I've just shared David's YouTube link in the chat. It's also in the description below as well. So let me share my screen, everyone, and we're gonna show you all the damage that I have done. So let's see how bad it is. So hopefully you can all, I'm trying to zoom in as much as I can, and David is already here. So what we did last time, or the last few times, was we built a Kubernetes cluster with TypeScript using Pulumi on the DigitalOcean. We did the domain, we did certificates, we did Ingress, we did Grafana and Loki and Promtail. David might have to explain what those are again. We did firewall. I think we might have deployed an app, I can't remember, but I've commented a lot out because I started moving to Civo. So a lot of it is commented out. So my question to everyone and to David is, should I stash my changes and not worry about this for now? Or should this is working on Civo in terms of the small bit of working, the bit I've done, and then do we uncomment stuff and update it as needed? What do you think, David? What does everyone else think as well?
I'm happy to go with the Civo approach. I think, we can decide what we need to get running there, see where we are when we do a Pulumi up. I'm curious to see how our state file is represented and what changes Pulumi wants to make. So that would be a good first step. And then we'll try and tackle things one at a time from there.
Okay, sounds good. So our goal, the reason why we're doing this, everybody, and doing infrastructure as code is because I'm really keen for the EddieHub community to make improvements to our infrastructure if we need better logging and so forth. And using tools like Teleport, I'm really keen to give access to the community members, at least the maintainers, to look at the logs. So if something's gone wrong, they can have a look at what it is. So that's the idea. So I've logged into Civo as well. So I'm just waiting for that to go through. So you said an up. Okay, so I'm a bit worried. I can't even remember what state I left it in. It should work. I don't know if I need to add any tokens or not, or if they're in a config file somewhere. Let's just try. So Pulumi up. I just want to also check if I have anything. No, so I have nothing on in Civo. I have one cluster that's just for Purduma, but I have nothing else that I've done for EddieHub. I think I removed it all after I was playing with it. So should I just, what do you think? Shall I hit Pulumi up and we give it a go?
Well, yeah, because it's going to do a preview first before it does anything else. So we can look at that preview and see if we're happy or not.
Okay, that sounds good. Let me make this full screen.
Moment of truth. All right, so it wants to create a firewall and a cluster. So the firewall, the cluster created in Civo was not created by Pulumi. Now we have two choices.
Okay.
We can import the cluster and the firewall to the resources that we've already defined inside of our Pulumi program. Or we just comment them out and see how you've configured the Kubernetes cluster. So why don't we start by looking at your code again?
Okay, let's have a look and see.
All right, so firewall, resource, create cluster. So you do have these two things being created. Did you create them with Pulumi or were they created in other means?
They should have been created with Pulumi, but I did delete a lot of stuff probably manually, so I might have left something behind. So could I delete them manually again and we can kind of start from scratch? Is that a possibility?
If you want, or we can run to the Pulumi import command if you want, or you can just blow them away and start again. It depends what you've got running on them and what they're doing so far.
Well, this one, it was a new one that I created for the Pulumi cluster. And this one, I guess, is the default one. And is that what it's picking up, I'm guessing? I can't delete that one.
That's just the default firewall. You don't need to worry about that. Yeah.
Okay. So I'm not sure which one it's picking up. Can I go to details on the command line and see? Would that give a bit more information?
Well, what I see here is you're going to call in a cluster EddieHub 2 firewall. So these names don't really add up. So
okay.
I mean, you can just run Pulumi up. Let's just let it create it.
Okay.
It doesn't matter, right? If you have 2 clusters in your CVO account, you can shut the other one down.
Yeah, exactly. Let's just do it. Let's go. Let's live dangerously. Everyone, are you ready? You're holding onto your seats. Okay, awesome. So I was going to say hi to a few people in the chat. Kyle, also to have you here. Carl, awesome to have you here. Hey, Sean. Hey, Jacob. Hey, Marcus. We've got some question. Let's have a look. I learned about Kubernetes from a meme. One doesn't simply deploy Kubernetes. I think it's quite a big, you can scratch the surface like I'm doing and do things a bit kind of manually by clicking and pointing, but then it doesn't scale as well. And so I think doing it with code makes it more repeatable. So that's what I'm trying to move to, but it opens a kind of a big can of worms. And then Carl's saying, yes, it's, hey Pandeep, how you doing? Yeah, it's a lot to learn, a lot to do it. But EddieHub are using it on all our apps, and it seems to be working well so far. So what's the damage, David?
It broke.
Okay. Oh, I know why. No, let me explain why. I've realized because I didn't know how to get the firewall name, that I actually ended up creating the firewall, I think, manually and hard coding it. So that's why.
All right. So what you want to do there is just call firewall resource.name.
Okay. I think I had an issue with it was returning
firewall
a promise
resource
or something. Firewall resource dot name, like so.
No.
You type.
Yeah. So it's just
ahead.
Your.
The one above. Sorry.
Yep. And this is going to give us. You can't see my autocomplete, but if you want to delete the dot and put it in for the
I'll do
people
that.
watching.
Yes. Okay. Now I know what we're talking about. There we go.
So you can see name is there, and you're right. We are going to get a type mismatch on the function signature for create cluster, but we're going to fix that. So if we hit save here, and the error message is telling us that argument of type output string, if you want to hover here, is not assignable to the parameter type string. Now this is because Pulumi is creating a Kubernetes cluster, and the name is a computed value. It's not known until that cluster creates. So we can't access a string, because if it was just a string, the chances are if we access it too early, it would be blank. So we hook into the language runtime features for node its promises, and we can use a promise to wait for that cluster to be created and then resolve the value. Now we can fix this by going to create cluster. And do you want to follow me? Just so the.
Oh yeah, sorry, I didn't realize it wasn't following you. It's because I was typing. Here we go, live share. Let's follow David. Here we go.
Awesome.
Okay.
All right. So
I'm glad you're awake.
Well, I don't think it followed me because I'm in another file now.
Oh, interesting. I am really breaking everything today. Focus, follow. Aha.
There we go.
Thank you.
So now we can see here that the function you've created, or I can't remember who created this function, but the firewall string. We need to update this now, because what we actually want is a Pulumi output of string type. Now we could actually make this a firewall name, and this could be of type string or Pulumi. You can kind of really take advantage of the Typescript ecosystem. Maybe that syntax is a bit wrong, but it's close. And make that work for either. And I'm pretty sure we could just do that here too. Yeah. Okay. So if we did want to use a pre-existing firewall name, we could pass in a string. However, we do accept Pulumi computed value, which is an output. So that should get our index.ts happy, and you should be able to run Pulumi up, and things should work.
Let's clear the terminal. Let's have a try again. See, it's easy when you know how. I spent like an hour trying to fix that. I was trying to do like thens, and there's is it apply or something that Pulumi has? I was trying all sorts of things.
There is an apply function. I'm sure we'll get to that at some point today.
Yeah. So this is looking better. So it's not trying to use an existing firewall. I'm guessing it's going to create what it needs.
All right, let's go.
Let's go. Let's do it. I've called it EddieHub 2. It probably doesn't need that name anymore because we were doing it on DigitalOcean before where there was a 1. Now there isn't a 1, but it's okay.
Well, that appears to be working just fine. So this is Civil Cloud. So it's going to take around 90 seconds.
It's pretty quick, yeah. Let's have a look. There we go. You can see it spinning up. Nice.
Awesome.
Oh, we've got 2 nodes. And it's medium standard. Where do we specify the 2? I thought, I don't know. I'm guessing.
Well, inside of create cluster, there's a node count and a node size here.
Ah, here we go. Perfect. Okay, 2's fine. 2's good.
I'm actually surprised this worked because this takes a firewall ID rather than a firewall name. But I guess Civil is a bit more forgiving. Yeah, so I would have expected that to be the correct answer.
Okay. Still going, and how does it look here? It's still building. I don't know if anyone's timing it, but not much longer to go. It's pretty quick.
You need to get one of those large interactive counters on the screen that just kind of pulses. Yeah.
I think I do have like a 3-minute timer. It's too long. Here we go. Where is it?
We need to speak to the Civil marketing team. If your cluster is not ready in 90 seconds or less, you get it for free.
I do have a timer. Here we go. I thought I did. So if everyone looks at the bottom, there is a pink line going across, and I think that's like 3 or 4 minutes. So, but yeah, it's too long for this. It's for when I do open source project reviews or profile reviews, give people a few minutes. Okay. So we have some questions in the chat. So we're waiting for that. Let's look at some of these questions. So Anu asks, is DevOps more for experienced developers in regards to demand in the market? Well, I would say, and David's probably better to answer this, but I would say developers is one area in tech. DevOps is another area. Testing is another area. So yes, there is overlap. So as a web dev, I'm doing a bit of DevOps, but I'm really kind of scratching the surface, just doing enough what I need to do. And so, yeah, I think go to the area that you want. You don't have to be an expert. You'll learn as you go along. But what do you think, David?
If you are new to tech and DevOps is something you want to go to, then you can definitely find positions that will help you learn in that field. Obviously, DevOps is a skill set and a part of the tech industry that focuses on automation. So it might be beneficial to understand the processes that you are automating, but I don't necessarily think that's a prerequisite. There's a lot of really cool tools out there that companies are adopting. Ansible is where I would direct people to. It's got a lot of traction. It's a very popular project. So yeah, I'd say it may not be as beginner friendly as like writing code, JavaScript, and other languages, but that'll be a DevOps beginner, definitely.
Awesome. You are welcome. Are there cloud hosting options without the risk of getting broke when you leave something running? You can usually, like on DigitalOcean, you can set like a warning, like if your bill over a certain amount, kind of notify you. And I think a lot of them do have kind of warning marks. Yeah, I don't know.
Well, let me tell you a secret, Marcus. But if you go to Oracle Cloud, and I know that's a bad word to a lot of people, but if you go to Oracle Cloud, you can get a free Kubernetes cluster with 2 nodes. So go check that out. Oracle Cloud have 2 nodes. Yeah, they have a very, very generous free tier. So it's 2 nodes with 1 vCPU each, and I don't know, 2 gig of RAM, something. I don't know, enough to run a couple of workloads at least. But go check that out. It's a pretty good way to get started. As Eddie says, make sure you set payment warnings, alerts for any cloud provider. It's very easy for these things to spin out of control, especially when you've got to start paying for egress traffic and you don't know how many people are going to be accessing your website. It could be you're asleep and someone shares your thing on Hacker News, and then you wake up and you're like, oh shit, I've got a 60 quid bill. Like you got to be prepared for that with all these cloud providers. But Oracle is a good way to get a free cluster, and of course Civil Cloud. They've got very modest sized machines you can use for your cluster to keep those costs low while you're experimenting.
Exactly. Okay, so it's up and running. So we are good. So if I switch back to the terminal, there's a new version of Pulumi. Okay, I'll do the upgrade another time, but that looks good. So it kind of worked. Looks promising, right?
Does that mean I can go home now?
Not yet, almost. Okay, so how can we start? What should we bring in next to kind of try and get back to where we were on DigitalOcean?
Okay, well, let's talk about this cluster first. So
Okay.
I'm actually quite familiar with Sivo. So there's a few things I think
Okay.
should be noted. This is not an empty cluster by default. Sivo Cloud has something called applications, which get deployed to the cluster, and by default, it deploys 2. First one being the metrics server, and the other one being a load balancer. So I believe we will have Nginx Ingress. I can't remember exactly, but I think it's Nginx Ingress deployed to the cluster.
Can we? I think we can check if I click on it.
Well, don't click on it. We're going to do it from Pulumi. Come on.
I was going to show you which ones have been deployed, but I'm actually not sure. I thought I could see that. Here we go. Installed applications.
All right. Okay.
To just show you. Oh, there are 0 installed.
I'm not that sure about that, so I'm going to double check anyway.
Okay.
So I'm going
to.
Let's see, what did we return? We return a cluster here. So if we go to index, then here we can export kubeconfig. We equal to our cluster resource dot kubeconfig const. Getting out the Typescript here. And if am I allowed to type? Hello.
What, in the
wait,
terminal?
that's my own terminal. Yeah, that's not your terminal.
Let's give you access. Can you request? Let's see if I can add.
Enter request.
Keep it read it. No, make the read write.
Give me the power.
You have the power.
All right. So I am going to run this little command here. I'm going to suppress the output just so we don't print the kubeconfig to the console.
Sounds good.
Yes. And if we run Pulumi stack output, it should do it. I can't remember. Does that print it? It might. So I'm just going to try and write this to a file. Oh, we don't have an output property called. Am I in the right direction?
I'm not the only. You are in the right directory. We do have it, so the code is in source, though. Are you in the right directory?
That's okay.
By the way, the terminal doesn't look quite right. You got some weird characters coming up.
Yeah.
Let me clear that and see if that helps. Go on.
I can't type anymore. I've got error messages, and they told me that.
Oh.
I think VS Code is having a moment to itself.
Okay,
there.
I can type it in terminal. And I did learn recently that on Teleport you can share terminals and stuff. So that's something I want to look into. But I suppose it's for the servers. Can I type it? So Pulumi up.
Yeah, we're in a different terminal. I'm now typing in one, but I'm in
you
your
are.
VS Code
Okay,
one.
yeah, it's working now. Hello P. No.
My signals don't work. If I can't. So I use Control U to delete lines, and apparently that doesn't transfer.
I don't think so. Here we go. I can delete it for you.
All right, you just use your terminal. I'll just narrate.
Okay. So what should I do? Pulumi up?
Yeah, I want to know why we never got that output variable set.
Let's do it. So hopefully everyone's following along. Any questions, let us know in the chat. So yes, or do I need to hide the output, or will it hide it?
You can run it. Just hit yes, yeah. Because when I suppressed the outputs, we never actually got the output. So. Okay. Okay. So now we want to write that output to a file. So do Pulumi stack output. No up.
Oh, sorry. Thank you. I am definitely asleep today. And what did you call the file?
Output.
Stack
and then kubeconfig.
Output.
Space kubeconfig.
Oh my god, I'm terrible today. Kubeconfig, yep.
And then write it to any file you want. KC is normally what I use.
Okay.
And then we want to do export uppercase kubeconfig. Sorry, lowercase export uppercase kubeconfig.
Oh, I see what you mean now. I've realized what you're doing. Yeah, okay. Is kubeconfig one word or is it a hyphen? I always forget.
One word equals,
And
and then
KC?
just KC, yep, and then run kube control get pods -a.
Kube control get pods -a.
Aha.
That's not good.
Yeah, something did not work when we wrote that. Do you want to open KC?
Yeah, is it okay to open it on the screen?
In fact, I can open it here, can't I?
Oh, yes, it will be. Yeah, you can open it yourself, but I won't open VS Code. Hey, Praduma, how you doing? Praduma is getting into DevOps and always sharing awesome stuff on open source and DevOps as well. So awesome to have you here, Praduma. We're breaking some things at the moment. We're trying to work on the move the EddieHub Kubernetes cluster to Civo, and yeah, I broke it a bit between last live stream with David and now. So poor David is trying to pick up the pieces.
Did you write it to KC or KC.secret? Because I see a KC.secret.
I did it at KC.secret from last time, I think. I did
right,
KC
so
this time.
We didn't actually write anything then.
I did that one. I wrote it to KC. What's that command? That's not the right command, is it?
Yeah.
Oh God, I can't even think today.
But just delete the redirect one. Let's just look at the kube config. Although it will flash it.
Okay.
Okay, I'll do it from VS Code. Let's do that.
Okay, let's do it that way. Okay, you do it from VS Code. I won't share that, and I'll bring up the GitHub project so people can see it as well. So it's in EddieHub Community Infrastructure, and this is the project that we're working on at the moment. So last commit was end of July, but we were in a branch at the moment, so I was trying to deploy some apps, and when was this? Last time was 2 months ago, I think. Yes. So many long evenings trying to get this working. And David comes along and fixes it really quickly. I remember when I was struggling with deploying the apps. But it allows us to hopefully improve the infrastructure. Sorry, not config, the infrastructure in the future. So sorry, David, back to you.
Yeah, the terminal doesn't work for me, so I have no idea what state
okay.
it's in right now.
let's just do what do you call it? Let's just do it on the screen. I can delete the cluster afterwards. It's fine. Oh, it just says secret. Is that good?
No. I know why. Because it's redacted from the CLI by default, and okay. Can you go back to VS Code and just nuke that terminal, because I don't. It's in the middle of Vim and I can't escape because it doesn't accept escape either.
Okay. Okay, got you.
Okay. All right. So do your export command again. The Pulumi stack output kubeconfig redirect KC, but before the redirect, we want to add -- show -secrets.
Show
-secrets.
See, when you know all the secrets, it becomes a lot easier. Okay.
And now a kube control get pods should work.
I'm going to move KC to secret because that means I won't commit it then. And then if I do the export, I can just put secret at the end, like so.
Perfect.
Okay, and then now if I do the kube CTL pods, we have a few.
All right. Yeah, we don't get the default applications. That must be a change they've made recently.
I think with the if you create it via the UI, you do, because I've created a few playing around on Civo. If I create a new cluster, you do get 2 installed. You're absolutely right. I can't think which 2 it was, but you do get 2 installed.
Yeah, metric server
2 applications. Yeah, there we go.
Oh, traffic. Okay, it's traffic. Yeah. Okay.
Those are the 2 that you get if you do it via the UI. But I'm guessing if you do it via the Pulumi or CLI, you don't get those.
I think that's a recent change, because in every cluster I've ever provisioned, I've had to do applications minus traffic minus metrics server.
I see. Okay.
Okay, well that's good. We have a working cluster, so let's try and get something running on it then.
Okay.
What was first last time?
Last time, what did we do first? I think we did the domain stuff.
Well, That is going to be very different on Civo because they don't
Oh,
have
really?
a domain name service or DNS provider.
How did I do it? Let me see. DNS. What did I do for this?
Oh, wow, they do have DNS. Today I learned.
Oh, okay. So this must be new. So yeah, I did create a few, but these weren't automated. These were just manually.
Yeah, I didn't know they did DNS at all. So
Okay. Well, we can do that later on because again, I think I'll have to move it over from DigitalOcean. So I've got a temporary one, so it won't break anything on EddieHub IO. But I think I've got EddieHub something else that we can play with. Maybe we'll leave the domains for now. Should we do? Should we work down the rest of the file? Should we maybe do load balancer and then Nginx and then what else did we need? Then deploy an app maybe.
oh yeah, why don't we just deploy link-free Finder API?
I'll just deploy one. Deploy one to begin with, I think.
Oh, be brave, Eddie.
I always break it as it is.
Now we don't need a Kubernetes provider here. We can use our cluster resource dot your provider again.
Hey everyone. Hey Flowlight. Hey Chai. Carl says this is dark magic. I agree. Like, when it works, it's magic. When it doesn't work, it is some pain, definitely. So the goal today is to get a deployed app on Civo. I think would be an awesome goal. And then we make a list of things we have left to do. But a lot of things should port over because they will be in the Kubernetes space. So that will just port over to Civo, I think. And one last question as well is, Carl says, just to understand, although it's infrastructure as a code, the implementation depends on the provider and can't be used no matter what the provider is. I think there's small changes, but the abstraction that Pulumi provides is that there are specific things to the provider. For example, if it has a feature like spaces and so forth, but in terms of deploying the app, I'm guessing it's going to be 99% the same because we're deploying it to Kubernetes, which will be the same on Civo or DigitalOcean or AWS and so forth. Is that correct, David?
Sorry, I was typing. Can you say
No,
that?
no worries. Carl was asking, although it's infrastructure as a code, the implementation depends on the provider. I was saying most of it, if it's going like say into Kubernetes, then that's the same across all providers. However, when you're doing say domain or spaces or specific features for the cloud provider, then that might be a bit more custom, but Pulumi does a lot of the abstraction for us.
Yeah, exactly. It's spot on. I mean, you can take something like DigitalOcean Spaces and AWS S3 and build your own abstraction, which is just a new bucket object, and then take a enumerated type to decide how that works or is implemented in the backend. So that's one of the really cool things about Pulumi just being TypeScript code or Go code or Python code or Java code or any supported language is you can build those own abstractions. Your infrastructure becomes a software layer, just like you were building your primary product or application. So you decide where the abstractions make sense, which components you need to have that flexibility, and then you just build it, which is nice.
And people can make improvements to it. So it kind of makes your infrastructure open source as well, which I really like.
Yeah, definitely, for sure. So I brought back link-free and API. I had to take out Finder app for a moment because it has a secret resource.
Oh, it does. An API will need a database. So I would just do link-free. That's the simplest one.
All right, let's do link-free first, and then we'll start bringing in the other components.
I want some database stuff because that's what we're going to need for the API and some other projects. Actually, the new version of link-free, which I haven't merged into main yet, is waiting on this infrastructure. So because that will need a database as well.
All right, well, let's do a Pulumi up. Make sure that we've got our correct Kubernetes provider. We deploy the link-free application, and then we'll do the database.
Cool. So Pulumi up is somewhere here. I could have just written it a lot faster than going through the history, or use Control R just to write up. Okay, you ready? You happy? I want to hit enter. Does it look good?
It looks just fine and dandy.
Perfect. Let's go. And we'll see no changes in Sivo because this is all happening within the Kubernetes. Okay. I had a question and I've kind of forgotten now.
It'll come back to you.
It will come back to me. Marcus says, Carla's right, it's pure wizardry. Hey, Sabrina, thanks for joining in while you're at work. Really appreciate the support. Hope you're doing well. So let me look back at the code and have a look. Let's see. Yeah, I'll have to port over the API Mongo data in the database, but I didn't want to do link free as well, so that's why I am delaying deploying that new rewrite from React to Next.js. I can't remember what my question was. Oh yes, the whole. Can you remind us what these were? So Grafana is the monitoring, but it's not to do the monitoring, right? It's to display the monitoring. Is that correct?
Yeah, Grafana is a dashboarding tool. It's pretty much the industry standard for building dashboards and exploring metrics. We then have Loki, which is a log database. So it's like Prometheus. Prometheus is a metrics database. Loki just stores logs. It can read and understand JSON logs, which allows you to slice and dice them and aggregate them and create metrics. It's a very, very, very cool project. Promtail is a collection agent, which will actually handle shipping all of our logs to Loki. And in fact, in our last episode, we actually seen logs coming in, if I remember correctly.
We did, you are right.
And then Teleport, we love Teleport, don't we? So.
We do. Big shout out to Teleport. These are all open source projects. Teleport gives people access to your servers, audits it, and you can define the different access that people have, be it reading the logs, be it logging in via SSH. And you can use also, actually I have a live stream tomorrow with Teleport. So anyone wants to learn more about that, we're going to, they're going to show us how we can share terminals and use GitHub Teams to manage the access and so forth, which is going to be awesome.
Yeah, that's what we do for clustered. Every time we spin up a new cluster to debug on YouTube, I add their GitHub handles and it gives them automatic access to all the machines.
Very cool. Awesome. That is cool. Okay.
How's our Pulumi up looking? Yeah.
Taking a moment. So which bit is it doing now? It says create on all of them?
So I'm pretty sure I know what's happened here. Is we're deploying these arbitrary resources from across the big bad internet, although they're still your repository. But this deployment service in Ingress is probably going to fail because Pulumi has something called await logic, where it will actually try and make sure the resources you apply to the cluster are healthy.
Okay.
I'm going to encourage you to Control-C this for a moment, or open a new terminal, whatever you prefer.
Open your terminal.
And then run, you'll need to export the kubeconfig and then run kubectl get pods for me, please. And I see Faisal's question, which I'll get to in a moment.
Cool.
Right. So we have EddieHub deployment. Yep. So see if you do get pods again, delete the -a, and do comma, no space, comma, SVC, comma, EP.
And SVC is
services.
Services. An EP?
And endpoints. This is the holy trinity of debugging. Because it shows you the pods, a service, and whether those services have any active endpoints. And this actually looks perfect.
Yes.
You can see here that the EddieHub link-free service has a cluster IP and some port configuration. Not really worried about anything there. What I thought was going to happen was there were no endpoints on the service. Excuse me. So it could be that Pulumi is awaiting for the load balancer EP. So if you run kubectl get ing, we might see pending value for the Ingress value, the Ingress object. Get ing.
Get and then space.
Yes.
ing.
Ingress. Yes.
Like that, the whole word.
Or you can just use ing. Both work.
Oh, I see. Got you. Okay.
Yeah, we have no address on this. Now, this is because we don't have an Ingress controller in our cluster. So let's add one.
Okay. And then just to clarify to what that means, will that mean it will add Is it a load balancer? Here we go.
Yes, it will add a load balancer to your
Here.
account.
Okay, perfect. So if we go back to here.
And we've already done all the hard work here for creating Nginx. So let's uncomment it. And we have a load balancer resource. Now, the reason we provisioned the load balancer manually last time is because we had to do a special configuration of it to get that domain name into it, which we may or may not need this time. I'm not sure about the Civil load balancer object, so I'm going to quickly spec one out to see what we can do with it. You can do this with another tool. Like, I don't know anything about Civo's load balancers, but because this is TypeScript, I have LSP. Oh.
Everyone has a love-hate relationship with TypeScript. When it works, it's awesome, and when it's a pain, it's a little bit of a pain.
Always good.
Always good. Positive thinking, love it. And then Faisal, we'll get to your question next as well.
I don't see a load balancer object, actually.
I can try and answer Faisal's question. What's the difference between Pulumi and Terraform? So my understanding is Terraform is similar to a CloudFormation. It's kind of like more config-y, whereas Pulumi, and these are very like basic answers, so David will do a lot better than me, whereas Pulumi is more, you're doing it as code, so it allows you to, as we've abstracted things out into functions, so we can make reuse a lot better and use variables and all that great stuff. That's my understanding.
Good enough to me.
Oh, wow, 10 out of 10. I thought you were like 5 out of 10, so that's good.
No, I mean, you're right. Terraform is a fantastic tool. And that is all well for years and years and years. However, it's based on HCL, HashiCorp Configuration Language, which is a declarative language which doesn't allow you to do imperative things. And sometimes your infrastructure needs you to do imperative things, but still work against a declarative graph. So, I mean, they've added and extended HCL from Terraform 0.11. They added stuff like, for each and other imperative constructs. But they try to do it in a very declarative fashion, which means you really need to start investing and learning HCL and how to do all these patterns, where you've already spent, the last 1 year, 5 years, 10 years, 20 years learning programming languages. So why not just use them? And that's where Pulumi comes in.
So yeah, use the tools that we know already.
Yeah. Okay, so I've looked at the Civo provider for Terraform and Pulumi, and there's no load balancer resource.
Is it on this one? Get load balancer? Oh no, but you're looking for something else.
I was looking to create one. So that must be a issue with their provider, and that they've just not added it yet. So we're going to try and work around that for now and have the Ingress controller and what is called the CCM handle this for us. So do you want to run back to your terminal?
Okay, let's do it.
And run kube control get pods all. In fact, we can see it at the top.
Yeah.
The very first pod, civo-ccm-blah, blah, blah. Mm-hmm. This is the cloud controller manager. So all cloud providers install this into clusters, and it means that when things happen inside of the Kubernetes cluster that they need to be aware of, like, hey, I want a load balancer, the cloud controller manager will do it for you. So we're going to leverage that right now to get us a load balancer, even though we cannot create one through the providers. That makes sense?
I'm with Carl and Marcus on this. This is black magic stuff, but let's do it. We'll probably learn a bit more as we go through.
All right, so I'm importing the Nginx file now, and I've changed this function to just take a Kubernetes provider instead of a load balancer resource. So I'm going to have to pop through and just remove the requirement for this on the function. And all we did with this anyway was specify the IP address to force it onto the service, which we don't need to do now. We jump through to this function, and we do not need these annotations anymore. And we do not need the value being passed in. And we are good. So let me make sure I've explained that in a relatively decent fashion. So we imported Nginx from networking Nginx. We are saying deploy Nginx to this provider, which is our cluster. This Nginx function actually deploys a Nginx Ingress controller and an Nginx pod. You can see here, this is just a vanilla Nginx pod. And then we have the service, and then we have the Ingress controller. We actually don't need the Nginx and the service deployed, but it will allow us to test our Ingress controller. So we're going to leave that as is. And then our Ingress controller here is a Helm deployment or a Helm release, which deploys the official Kubernetes Nginx Ingress thing. And we actually don't really need to configure or tweak too much. So if you can go back to your terminal, run a Pulumi up, and I'll do my best to explain what is actually happening.
Let's have a look.
I think it's in the other tab.
Oh yeah, it was in the other tab. I had finished. I had some errors. Yeah,
that's the await logic saying we never got an IP address for the load balancer service.
Okay.
Which is good.
What's wrong with this? Do you want to perform this update? Use arrows to move, but I don't see where the arrows are. Let me control C that and start again.
We're having lots of terminal fun today, aren't we?
Okay, Pulumi up. Let's have a look. I won't navigate away. Maybe it's because I navigated away. I did restart my computer before this live stream just in case there are any issues. How is this? Can I hit enter to yes?
Yeah, go for it.
Let's do it. Everyone ready? Everyone on board? Let's see. Puduma says got to drop off early. No worries. It is late there, Puduma. Get some rest. This was a late live stream today. Shout out to David, one of the most helpful people in DevOps. Yes, I definitely agree. Everyone go subscribe to David's YouTube channel. Link in the description, and I'm going to share it in the chat. Oh, not that window. Where is it? Again as well. It's Rorke Code everywhere. On Twitter, on YouTube. So you can easily find him. Let me share that as well. I remember setting up hardware servers in the racks and breaking my back. This is much easier, and you can version control this and do undo and all the rest. So this is definitely a lot easier. Thanks, Marcus. Okay, so how are we looking?
We're just waiting. I think if you go to the Civo UI, you'll see a load balancer is being created.
Okay, let's have a look. I'll refresh this page. Awesome.
Nice. So what happened there? All right. Go to command line one more time, please, Eddie.
Sure.
Other tab, let's run kube control get service.
Get SVC.
Yep. So when we deployed Ingress Nginx, this is the official, at least as official as you get, Ingress controller from the Kubernetes SIGSIN community. I created this load balancer service here. You can see type load balancer, and it has a cluster IP, and it now has an external IP, although I don't think that was there 20 seconds ago, but that's okay. The existence of this service was detected by the Cloud Controller Manager that went, oh, the people in this cluster want to be able to export or use these resources from a public IP address. So it actually goes away to Civo, creates the load balancer, comes back, updates the load balancer service with the external IP, and now we should be able to browse to that IP and see the default Nginx pod.
So I can go straight to that IP. Okay, let's have a look.
Well, one hopes.
Let's try it.
Yeah, that's good. That's a good thing. So I'll
we
take
hit
it.
Nginx. Okay, sounds good.
We did.
If you're happy.
And because our Ingress, sorry, I didn't mean to talk over you. Our Ingress is configured with a host name. So we haven't set up a default service yet. We could do that, and we could point it to link-free, or we could point it to the Nginx pod that we deployed. It doesn't matter. But we do have working connectivity publicly for the internet.
Awesome. That sounds good. It's definitely a good start. I like that. So it's available. It's working, and we can also port forward, can't we, to the app locally?
You can do a kube control port forward svc / EddieHub link free service.
Port forward.
It's a port dash forward, sorry.
No, I thought it was. I wasn't 100% sure.
svc /
svc /
EddieHub link free service.
service.
And then you'll need to provide port 5000:5000. And then you can go to localhost 5000.
Let's have a look. Does everyone think? Do you think it's going to work out of 10? What does everyone think?
Do we need a database for link free, or is it?
No, link free at the moment. The new version will need one. There we go. It's working. So if I go to my profile, that actually works on the new cluster. Well, that was pretty easy to set up a whole cluster, load balance it, and get an app deployed. I mean, that was.
But this is a testament to why Kubernetes is so important, right? Is that you, as an application developer, build an app, you ship a container image, and you describe how to run it on Kubernetes. And then it doesn't matter what is underneath it. It doesn't matter if it's a managed Kubernetes, a local Kubernetes, some Kubernetes from a far, far away land. Like, it's just going to work. So that kind of compatibility and interoperability with any Kubernetes API is what we want. So, very cool.
It is very, very cool. And that's, yeah, I think web devs should be aware of Kubernetes. You don't have to, and Docker, you don't have to dive deep. But if you can get something working, and then you can kind of, pass it on to someone else in the community who can then take it further again. But I think having an appreciation and understanding of kind of to get something working. And Minikube is great for running things locally as well if you want to play, or the Oracle one that David recommended if you want a free one in the cloud.
All right, what's next?
Okay, Carl, I don't know if Carl's saying bye for another project I'm working with a good friend. Carl, you have so many projects on the go. It's amazing. You're a machine. Don't know how you do it. You have so many green squares, and I appreciate all the love and support that you provide to the EddieHub and our projects. So I really appreciate it. Okay, so I'm going to close that. I want to stop the terminal. Okay, so next, so we've got link-free running. What I would love to do, I think, is get one of the projects with the database. So so get kind of a Mongo running as well. I would love to have that. So maybe well, they're both going to need secrets though.
That's all right. Let's do it.
I don't know what the secrets are.
We'll work it out. All right. So
Let's
bring in MongoDB. We need to import from up here, so let's bring that in too. We now have this function which deploys, this is the one we did together. So this generates the username, the password. Everything that can be ephemeral is ephemeral. And that, to me, is the sweet spot of infrastructure as code. So awesome.
Let me follow you again. I think we stopped following you. 1 second. Follow participant.
How rude.
Here we go. Okay, so yes, so the username and password of the database is going to be auto-generated, which I think was pretty cool.
Yeah,
So
this is all like whenever you can make anything ephemeral, the goal is to make it ephemeral. Like, do you need to know what the MongoDB password is? No. Right. So you just make it random. It's also a bit more secure. Because we could actually set these to be 32, 64, 255, whatever Mongo let is max key or thing. So you can really start to tweak the entropy of all this. So let's close this, and this will deploy MongoDB.
And so what will that actually do in Civo on the dashboard? So it will deploy Mongo as an app within Kubernetes, and then will it attach some storage so therefore it could keep the data after the containers restarted and so forth? Is that how it will work?
Yes. So cloud provider Kubernetes use something called a CSI. If you go back to your terminal, you'll see the pods are there already. They're deployed by default. Kube control get pods -a. Yeah. You'll see Civo CSI. So what happens here? Okay. This will create block devices on the cloud provider and make them available to the cluster, so that when pods say, hey, I need access to storage, it will provision the volume and attach it for you. And then it means, well, what's really nice is that when your workload moves around from nodes, the block storage can follow it around, which is awesome.
That is very cool. And a question on that: every time we do a redeployment of Mongo, say an updated version or something, the attached storage is going to stay the same, so it will continue to work. My question is, what happens if we undeploy Mongo? Does it remove the attached storage with it?
Okay, that's a really good question, and I'm going to answer it by saying let's do it, and I'll show you how you can find this out for yourself as well.
Okay.
Because
I was just sorry. Carry on. No, carry on.
Because I mean, I could tell you the answer is it depends. There's a way to tell the CCM how to clean this stuff up. There's something called retain on delete as part of the persistent volume claim spec. I could sit and describe it for the next 4 minutes, but I think I should just show you where all this information lives. I think that's going to be much more valuable. So let's deploy the Mongo. And just because I know these are going to be super easy, I'm uncommenting Grafana, Loki, and Promtail, and I'm just going to let them go straight onto our cluster. They don't need anything, so I'm happy for them to go. We can also deploy teleport, actually.
I was going to say, once we deploy that, maybe we could give a quick demo of those as well.
Yeah.
Before we get into the Mongo stuff, I think.
Well, I've uncommented all the things. So let's run a Pulumi up.
Okay,
we'll see how happy it is, and then work it out from there.
Let's have a look. Pulumi up. Let's go. And you'll get to see these tools that we spoke about in action. So another question I have is these. So the Promtail was the agent, if I remember correctly.
Yep.
Do these go to all the deployed apps? So here we've got Linkfree. If later on I deploy the API in Finder, will all the containers, pods, and so forth, will they all have what they need, or do I need to update the code each time I add a new app?
No, you do not have to update the code. The way that Promtail works is it runs as a daemon set. A daemon set in Kubernetes means it's a process that runs on every node within the cluster.
Perfect.
Promtail will monitor some special directories and pull the logs from them and then write them to Loki for you.
Got you. Okay, awesome. So it'll do all its black magic for us. So that's great.
Yes.
I like that. I like the sound of that.
How's our Pulumi up looking?
Oh, yes. It's asking the question. I thought it would go straight away and do it. So my bad. Good call. So it's going to do lots of awesome stuff with Mongo. And it's going to do all the Loki, Promtail, and teleport as well.
This won't take long.
And what's the production?
That's what we've called the Helm release. So that's just a name that has snuck through for the MongoDB deploy. Oh no, it's not the Mongo one. Loki, Promtail, teleport. It's Grafana. Grafana is called production.
And we wouldn't call that. Oh, they're all called production. Is that correct?
Yeah, but if we click on deploy Grafana, it uses the name here, and if we click on deploy Loki, it's got Loki names. So we just didn't interpolate the Grafana one with the service name.
Oh, see. So on the terminal, yes, they say it on here, but this one doesn't. Okay. And so my next question while that's running, if I change this in the code here to do the same, then where was it here? Would it update the name, or would we have to kind of delete what we had done and recreate it?
It will replace the release for you. There are ways to rename that. So if you go back to the code, yep. If you go down to underneath provider, I don't know if this is going to work. I've never done this before, but type alias, and then it's an array, and you can add production. That might work, but I'm not sure.
Oh, we see what you mean. Okay, so, but I guess I was keen to have it rewritten. So if we ever did a list again of stuff, it wouldn't come up as production. It would come up as like. Do you see what I mean?
Yeah, to be honest, because we've not done anything with this Grafana, we can just have it replaced. The other option we could do, and maybe I'll walk you through that. It depends how much hardcore Pulumi stuff you want to learn versus how much progress you want to make on the stream. So I like
probably more progress. As much as I'd love to learn it, I think it's more progress. So I need it. I need the servers. Give me the power.
Well, the alternative option is to delete the Grafana URN. So the state from our state file, we can do that via the Pulumi CLI, and then re-import the resource back into our code with the new name. So if you
Okay.
really needed, this was a valuable
No.
production service with lots of data, you would do it that way. But for
Okay.
now, let's just replace it.
No, we'll leave it for now, because what I'll probably do in before our next live stream, probably delete the whole, do Pulumi, not down, I can't think what it is, delete, and I'll do destroy, and I'll do a Pulumi up anyway, so it'll recreate it with the new name. I've probably broken that now because it won't match next time. So for this, so I put it back to what it was for this live stream.
Yeah, sure. Just call it name.
I don't want to give us more problems, but I'll leave it commented out so I can remember. Okay. Okay, so I have a question in the chat from John. It's not on the code. Hey, John, how you doing? How are you doing the share via VS Code? So on VS Code, what we have is you can install, I don't know if it's by default now, you have to install it, but it's live code share, and then you can invite your friends, and then you can follow each other, and then you can also add a terminal, and you can give them write access so they can type in the terminal, things like that. It's pretty cool. It works most of the time. It's a bit buggy sometimes, but it's pretty good. We've been going for an hour now, David, so let me know how you're okay with time and so forth as well.
Yeah, I'm good to go.
Cool. Okay, so let's have a look at the
Just
terminal.
hope our Pulumi catches up soon.
Okay. Let's have a look. And will I see any change in the dashboard? Let's have a look. So we've got the load balancer. Kubernetes will still be the same because everything was happening within Kubernetes. So I guess we won't see anything. Oh, we should see some attached volumes. Is that correct?
We may do. Yeah, let's have a look.
It's thinking about it. It's thinking about it. Oh, I've got loads. It doesn't say when they were created, so I don't know if these are old or new.
Reminds me of that Friends episode with the answer machine message. I don't know if you've watched Friends, but it's Monica and Rachel shouting, old or new, old or new. Yeah, funny.
Friends is awesome. But I can't delete these either, so does that mean they're new because they're not ready yet? I don't know.
I'm not sure if Sivo would let you delete them right now because the Cloud Controller Manager may be protecting them because they are bound. And these are some weird words when I say like bound, but we'll take a look at that from the Kubernetes
I guess
API.
in use, is that the another word for bound?
Yeah.
As in they're kind of in use. But 5 looks good. The 10s, I think they're old. But then they do have the same name at the end. So maybe they are all new and all part of this cluster. Well, I guess we'll find out, like you said. Oh, there was an error.
Oh dear.
That wasn't me. I was playing with the Grafana name. I wasn't playing with the Loki one.
All right. So it says the Helm release was created but failed to initialize completely. All right. Well, let's work it out. So let's do kube control get pods and see how our cluster looks.
Is it good?
So what has happened is it's the little Stevo cluster that couldn't. We don't have enough nodes. So you see how we've got Loki read and write pending, 2 pods that we couldn't schedule. If you describe one of those, it's probably going to tell us that couldn't schedule them due to CPU or memory constraints.
Oh, really? But we gave them mediums. They're pretty juicy. Let's have a look.
Let's see. Yeah, come on. Let's have a look.
Was it describe?
Yeah, so kube control, describe pod, and then paste the pod name, please. So Loki write to, or whatever one you copied.
I did read to.
Awesome. So the problem is anti-affinity rules right at the bottom. I think I've seen it before you kind of scrolled. Yeah. 2 nodes are available. 2 nodes did not match the pod anti-affinity rules. So what does that mean, Eddie?
I have no idea.
So if we scroll up a little bit.
Sure.
I don't know if we're going to see it on the describe. We may have to run something else. Let's see. Yeah, it's not there. Okay. Run kube control get pod name, but then add a special flag.
Kube control get pod.
Yep. And then the name of the pod.
Then, yeah.
But then this time add -o YAML.
Yeah, like so.
And this is going to spit out the YAML for deploying that pod.
Okay.
On this pod, we are going to find the rules that it was talking about. So if we scroll up, I don't see them yet.
A bit more.
Yeah, keep going. There we go. We have spec, affinity, pod, anti-affinity, and then we have this required during scheduling, ignored during execution. I'm not going to explain that because it makes absolutely no sense, and I wish we could rename it.
Sounds good.
This is saying that anything labeled with component read instance Loki production and name Loki is actually going to try and avoid those. So it means that it's not going to try and stick too much of Loki, which is a production monitoring based service, on the same node, because if that node disappears, you'll lose your Loki.
Okay.
So we could remove the affinity, but we probably want to add a third node.
Third node? I'm not made of money. Okay, so how do we add we obviously want to do it with code, and the node won't be running any apps though. Is that correct?
It will be running apps, yeah. It'll become part of our cluster, but it will satisfy the affinity rules. Now we can dig into the affinity rules more. If you run the kube control get pods all again, I wasn't paying attention to all the other workloads, but there must have been some other Loki component running. Yeah, we've got the Loki production agent and we've got the Loki gateway logs. So yeah, we probably need one more node for those read and write pods to be scheduled.
Okay.
Or we can remove the affinity.
I think 2's enough. Is it not 3 overkill?
I mean, I don't run a cluster with less than 6 nodes, but
Wow. Seriously? At the moment, we're running like 1 node. Everything's been fine.
Right. So let's make a change to our Loki deploy. We must have ran 3 on DigitalOcean.
I think we only ran 1. I'm pretty sure we only ran 1. It must have been 3 maybe then. Maybe that's why my bill was so high. No, I'm just joking.
I'm going to pull up the documentation for the Loki Helm chart.
Okay. Carl's saying money. Yeah. Actually, because we're doing because I'm doing live streams mentioning Sivo, they give me lots of free credits. Actually, I don't mind having 3 pods if we think that's a good idea. But
free credits, and you're not even going to let me spin up a third node.
You can spin up a third node if you want, but I'm thinking longevity. I'd rather create up clusters for like people who want to play with it in the EddieHub community. So I want to use that credit for like something more useful.
All right, I have found the documentation. I'll share the link.
But if it's easier to spin up a third one than turn it off, then let us know. We can always do that another time.
There we go. Maybe you can show people this link while I make a couple of quick tweaks to the deployment.
Sure, let's have a look and see. I'm still interested about all these volumes, where they all came from. Here we go, Loki. Oh, what's that? Close that. So this is Artifact Hub, and my understanding is it's a bit like npm for Kubernetes. Does that make sense? Is that a correct analogy?
So the Artifact Hub is, it's a place where you can go find Kubernetes resources that the community have built and maintained together, and you can just consume them. One of the most popular resource types on the Artifact Hub is Helm charts. You don't really need to write Helm charts anymore. Loads of people already do it. And I went to the Loki chart that we're using, which is the Grafana one I've shared with you. And if you go to the top of that page, there is a default values button on the right-hand side. Down a little bit.
There we go, yeah.
And this is the default configuration. If you search path for affinity in that little box. You'll see there's write affinity and read affinity, which defines the anti-affinity rules for both of those pods. And we have already updated our Helm chart in Pulumi just to blank that out. So we're essentially saying, hey, we don't care where these run. Just please go install them.
The way I like it. Good question here from Carl. How many nodes are actually production SaaS clusters have? So it sounded like David runs 6 for a production.
Well, I run 6 because I like a certain topology for my Kubernetes clusters. I like to kind of segregate a handful of nodes for data services that have extremely explicit networking rules and configuration. And then usually I have some sort of other node pool which will serve public traffic and has a bit more permissive with regards to networking. And that's where like front-end applications and APIs could run. But you get to define your own topology with Kubernetes. You can do whatever you wish.
Sounds good. So although that was YAML config, we saw on not Helm, on where was it? On Artifact Hub. We're going to do that. Do it in as an object in our TypeScript.
Yeah, I mean, I haven't checked the template, and I may look really stupid now. But I believe in the template that writes that affinity is going to parse that JSON string into an object. I might be wrong, so I've just nulled it. Okay. It might be that it forces us to do an empty string, and we'll see when we do the Pulumi up.
Let's do it and see. I'm feeling confident. I know it's going to work. And if it doesn't, it'll work next time round. We'll get closer and closer each time.
Well, I like things going wrong. It gives us something to talk about, right?
No, I like things to work. Oh, it didn't like that, I don't think.
Yeah, so it probably does. It is trying to parse that properly. So we're going to set this to an empty string instead. So let's just do this.
Okay, let's go again. Second time. Oh, what happened there? Second time lucky. My backup keeps trying to run. Every time I pause it, 3 minutes later it starts again. So every 3 minutes I have to hit back up. And there isn't a quit version for it. I'm using Backblaze, which is usually quite good. But I understand why it keeps trying to back up. So hopefully my screen share and everything else has been okay. Let's go. Do it. Got distracted with pressing the pause back up. Everything succeeding would be live. Wouldn't be a live stream. That's very true, Carl. It wouldn't be. This is definitely live. And while that's running, can we run some Kubernetes commands?
Yeah.
Could we find out a bit more about these?
We can indeed.
So
what you want to do is run kubectl get pv. This stands for persistent volume. There's that wonderful word bound I used earlier. So the Kubernetes lexicon just requires a little bit of familiarity, and then you'll be bouncing around in no time. But you can see here we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 persistent volumes. There's the reclaim policy. So to answer your question from earlier, if you delete those workloads, those will be deleted. Those persistent volumes will disappear.
Wow, so in the code, if I commented out this, the data would also go with it as well?
It will.
Wow, okay.
Assuming the CCM does the job that it is supposed to do.
Sure, okay. And then my next question is, why do we have so many? Is it because Teleport needs something, Loki needs something, they all need something?
Yeah, they will all use their own volume. The reason being is that each of those workloads can be scheduled on a different machine, and those volumes have to be able to move around freely based on the workload that they're satisfying. So persistent volume generally, well, they always work independently from everything else. It's not like you have one volume and slice it up.
Okay. No, that makes sense. I like the independence. You don't accidentally make a mistake. My next question is, so I think I asked you this before and you gave a suggestion. This is not for now, but how would we back up our Mongo data so therefore if something did go wrong, whatever it was, we could get it back? Is there a tool
Yeah,
for it?
there's some really good projects in the cloud native space. There's Caston by Veeam, and there's Project Valero. Those are the two most popular ones.
Okay.
If you want to, you can just Google them, or I can talk about them. It's up to you.
Yeah, let me Google them. So what was the name, sorry?
Valero, Valero,
V,
Kubernetes.
sorry, say that again. V,
Valero, Valero,
Valero.
and then just add Kubernetes to the end.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
So this is Valero. Sorry, I even spelled it wrong. This is a project that came. No, that's true. Yeah.
No, there was the one. Okay, I was just checking.
Yeah, it was the one I just spelled it wrong. So Velero. This comes from VMware. You run it in your cluster. It will back up all of your persistent volumes to blob storage. So using S3 or Civo blob storage.
Okay.
And if you need to be able to restore, there is a custom resource you can apply to the cluster to tell it to recover a service. The other popular option is Kasten by Veeam, which does the exact same job. It's just a different implementation. So Kasten. Yeah, you've already got it in your history.
I think I've looked at this one before.
Yeah. So you've got choices there, and I'm sure there's others. Those are just the two that I'm more familiar with. But they both work in a relatively hands-off fashion. You deploy to the cluster, and just let it do the backup thing. So.
Okay. And would we install it with the Helm chart as well, like with the others?
Yeah, Valero definitely has a Helm chart, and there's an episode on my YouTube channel if you want to learn more. I sat down with the maintainer of the project, and we did some kill demos. So.
That's awesome. Cool. Actually, no, I have another question, but let's see how this was getting on before I ask my other one. Oh, it's still going. Okay.
That could be an indication that it's still not scheduled those nodes. So in another tab, why don't you run kubectl get pods all just to see how things look?
Oh, it's all. Oh no, there's two pending here.
Yeah. Oh, read write 2. So now I think we've hit a resource constraint. So if you describe that one, I bet you it's CPU or memory.
Loki read 2.
Yep. No, affinity rules.
Did it not take the config? Shall we grab the YAML and see if it actually came through?
There's no affinity.
There's no affinity, so it did come through. Hey, see, everyone, I'm learning. I remember to get the YAML and check, but it isn't there. And I can double check that by, I could pipe it with, it's a long time, view?
Grep.
View. Well, grep 2, I was trying to kind of get into kind of a Vim style. I thought it was view, but maybe, if not, I just grep it with affinity, but...
Well, you could use less, which it does support some Vim key bindings.
Yeah, I was just going to search.
So you can search with a slash, yeah.
Affinity. So only...
So that's just the status message, which we can ignore. So we don't know what the parent of this Loki read is, and we don't know what the deployment strategy is. So there could be various factors here that stop this from deploying right now. If you run the get YAML again, we can take a look at a couple more things. So let's scroll to the very top. All right. We can see this is the stateful set. So you see on line 12, roughly, stateful set Kubernetes pod name Loki read 2. The name was also an indication that this was a stateful set because it was ordered. Ordered means it has a number on the end. Okay. Inside of a stateful set, there is a strategy for doing updates, which will either be parallel or ordered. So if you, we won't see it on the pod. So if you run kubectl get sts.
Sorry, kubectl
get sts.
Get sts. What's sts?
Stateful set.
Okay.
And then describe one of those. So kubectl describe sts loki-read. And if you scroll to the top one more time, we'll see the update strategy is a rolling update, which is fine. We can see we've got 2 running. We're still waiting on 1.
This easier to add a third pod. Third node, sorry, not pod. No.
Well, I think you should run kube control get pods again. I want to work this one out. So.
I was afraid you might say that. Pods. Okay.
Yeah, so Loki read 0 and 1 successfully running. We have no affinity rule. I mean, it feels like this is a resource thing. Let's try nudge it. Delete both those pods.
Okay, and it will recreate them, I guess.
Well, yeah, I'm curious to see if they continue to sit in pending, and I want to see if the status is updated. So you can just delete one or both. It's up to you.
What is the delete? So what is the delete command?
Delete pod.
Oh, it is delete pod. Okay.
And then you can just put the name of whatever resources you want, multiple if you wish.
Okay, let's delete both of them. Let's live dangerously.
All right, so get pods one more time. We still have pending, so let's describe it and see what it complains about this time.
They came around really quick.
Yeah, Kubernetes is fast.
That is fast.
That's one. It's still saying anti-affinity rules. All right, let's add a third node.
Okay, we do that with code.
Yeah, we're going to jump into a cluster file.
Let me follow you. 1 sec. Follow participant. Oh, yes, follow David. There we go.
I'm just going to change this to 3.
Simple as that. Nice. Okay, so Pulumi up.
If it's not running anywhere else, yep.
No, it's not. So all is good. And so in the UI, under Kubernetes, we should see.
It depends if you pressed yes.
Oh, I always forget about that. Thank you so much. So we won't see it, but in a minute we will. Need to press yes. Oh, I did not like that. It's a lot of red.
I'm going to encourage you just to run that again.
Oh, what was it? Because we've got the. Did you remove the? What was it? The infinities. Should we remove this?
No, let's just leave that there.
Because I thought we want that to be affinity now because there's a third node. It's okay to have it.
I'm keen to leave it just now. So let's run the Pulumi up one more time. Cause I think that was maybe a transient error.
Okay.
But maybe not.
I'm going to be ready for the yes. I'm ready for the yes. Yes. Here we go. I was there. I was lightning fast that time.
Yeah. Oh, no. I'm definitely angered at, haven't I? What's the error message?
Oh, interface. Is it not complaining about is nil? It doesn't say where it is, does it? Node.
This looks like it's a bug with the provider. So,
and we could destroy it and recreate it all again.
Okay, let's make one more change because you always need escape hatches. So let's do the escape hatch. Can you go back to the terminal and run Pulumi preview --diff?
So it's just going to show us a difference of the changes it would make.
Yep. So what I'm going to encourage you to do now is to go to the UI for Civo and add a third node.
I still think it's this thing. I want to delete those things. You don't think so? That's just me guessing. I have no actual like scientific evidence.
I mean, it's not that. The reason this is failing, and is because you're not. Add the node first, then we'll talk about it.
Okay. So scale up.
Yep.
I've
Click the button.
Before. I've clicked it. I've clicked it. I have $60 a month. You think I made of money? Okay, scale up. Let's do it.
All right, I'll have Kunal send you a wee freebie.
He sent me loads of credit already. No, I'm good. Thanks.
All right, so let's talk about why this is broken. Well, that spins up to other pills. So go back to the code. But what you're not supposed to do with Sivo is something that you've done that I wasn't going to call you out on, Eddie.
Okay.
But if you click on or follow me or click on create cluster.
Let me follow you, and then you can drive.
Yeah. This is a default node pool. And really, you set this once and never again. What I tend to do is set it to 1. And what you're really supposed to do is then to add the ephemeral node pool equals new Sivo.Kubernetes node pool, and then add your node pools in this configuration. You can't actually modify the default node pool created from here.
Oh, I see. Okay.
So what I've done is I set it to 3, and you're going to have 3 because you've scaled it up. But I've also added ignores changes pools.node count. So we could set that to fluffy elephants, and hopefully Pulumi should ignore it.
Okay, and so in the future, if I was to delete everything and recreate it, that's set to 3, so it would just start off with 3, so it would work. It wouldn't be changing it.
Yeah, I actually put in a request with Sivo to have this as 0 and have all node pools managed externally. I don't know if they've ever made that change. I hope they have. But they don't want people spinning up control planes without any nodes, because then it just costs them money. So yeah, normally what I do is I say, okay, set this as 1. We segment that off as the smallest node type. We use it for something very trivial, and then we build and layer on other node pools for various configurations. Because it's also not very common to have a heterogeneous cluster, like all the nodes be one size. Typically, your databases use bigger node types, and then your front-end applications might use smaller node types depending on what kind of traffic they're satisfying. Databases are very I/O heavy. You need really fast NVMe disks in them. But for web requests and web servers, everything lives in memory, and it's just bang, bang, bang. So the hardware that we use is we usually have much more homogeneous clusters.
That's really interesting. I didn't think about that. Wow, so you can customize like so much. So in theory, if I run this now, it should just be happy.
Yeah, I just realized I said homogeneous for different, heterogeneous for same, but it's the other way around, because I had to Google it because I was like, that doesn't sound right.
They're really big words. I'm just nodding along. I'm like, okay, it kind of makes sense. I kind of half understand what you're talking about.
Homogeneous means the same, and
I use small words. So in theory, this is one update though.
Yeah, because it doesn't. We've got ignore changes on the node count, and you set the value on the server side to update it anyway. So it's never going to modify that node pool again. We're safe. That should be enough to get us working.
Okay, I'm going to say that to 3 for next time then. Otherwise, it will break, and I won't know why.
Well, the ignore changes is there.
Sure, but when I recreate the whole cluster is what I mean. It will create 3, and I'll be like, so I don't know something. So I won't have any issues hopefully next time around. Yeah. Okay, so that's going.
I love Vijay's question. Vijay wants to know when EddieHub is being released.
Wonder when new cloud service. I tell you what, it will be very simple and probably not work. But it'll be fun. I guarantee you it'll be fun. And it'll be open source, 100%, 110% it'll be open source. I love that. Thank you so much, Vijay. That's really weird. Someone take a screenshot of that. Actually, let me bring and I can tag Kuna as well. Let me bring this up. So someone take a screenshot, share it on Twitter, tag me, and I'll retweet this. So tag me, tag David, tag Kuna, and I'll retweet it. I love that. It's so funny. I'll pull a face as well. Ready? 1, 2, 3. Hopefully you got it. And I'm a bit behind notifications, but I will try and look out for that today. Okay, that's still running, but what we're hoping to see, if I understand correctly, if I do get pods, should be no more pending. Okay, so it's still not happy with those two because they're not pending.
Container creating, they're coming.
That's taking ages. I want it now.
Well, it's on a new node and it has to pull the images, so we have to give it a little bit.
Okay. We will give it a little bit of time.
I picked a terrible date and it's on Twitter that I'm quitting because my Twitter has been blowing up the entire time I have been on this.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
But blowing up in a good way? How have you reached 10K yet?
No, it's mostly people reaching out saying they'd love to work with me, which is very, very kind.
That's awesome. Everyone, which is why I say get involved in open source, because it really helps you stand out. And then share your journey on Twitter, because that helps too.
This is the good thing, Eddie. You now have my undivided attention once a week to build Eddie Netties. So I'm all yours.
Well, whenever you've got time, let me know. I'd love to have you on and to move this forward.
But I feel like we're retracing our steps today. We haven't really been able to do anything new. So let's get this in the next 30, 40 minutes to where we were, and then let's get something scheduled just after, or even maybe just before KubeHuddle, and do some more cool stuff. So.
Sounds good. No, that sounds awesome. The EddieHub community, we're really, really happy to to see the infrastructure come together so we can start moving apps over and start deploying the new versions of apps as well. Because I didn't want to migrate all the Mongo data from DigitalOcean, so I'm holding fire on the link-free project, moving that over. So I'm waiting on this. So super excited. Everyone will love you for it.
All right. What does our Git pods show? I'm hoping we're beyond container creating. Oh, we have an error then. Let's describe that.
Okay.
I wouldn't expect it to be container creating for quite that long.
Okay.
No volume.
I did see something on Sivo saying
So
the volume.
This is a really interesting situation. So what happened is the two persistent volumes were created for us on the old node. So I think if you run kubectl get pv,
kubectl get pv,
yep, they're all bound. So let's run kubectl get pvc, which is the claim to the volume.
Okay.
And this will, I think you can do a -o wide on that to show the node where the claim lives.
Dash what, sorry?
Try -o wide.
Oh, wide, like that?
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay, I thought that's what you said the first time. And I was a bit like, that doesn't sound like a real flag.
All right.
Oh, it does. Okay, this is file volume.
This is added the volume mode, right? Okay. Describe the pod one more time. I'm really curious about this. This is interesting.
Okay, so this one. Let's look.
Yeah. It started.
Is it the newer one at the top? Well, 14 seconds ago. So now it's saying started.
So I think what was that? I think the persistent volume claim was still claimed, and it just took a little bit of time for that claim to be freed. So we're running, we're cooking.
And then when I refreshed the page, it did say from creating, now saying attaching.
Yeah, perfect.
And so now I guess if I refresh it, it will say attached. Yeah, they're all attached. It was taking just a bit of time.
Yeah,
to do it.
Okay, we'll blame Steve-O. It's your fault, Steve-O. Make it better.
It's pretty quick actually, but it's Thursday, end of the week. Okay.
Yeah, the customers are all spinning down. They're getting a beer. They just want to turn off for the night.
Don't blame them. Okay, perfect. So now what next? I forgot what we were doing.
Well,
we were dealing with that error, weren't we?
We should have Loki prompt to teleport Grafana all deployed. Now we want to, and our Mongo is deployed. So now we want to deploy link free.
So link free is deployed. We were going to deploy API or find API needed a database. Can we give a quick demo of Grafana, Loki, and Promptail teleport? Like just something in the, as in like, see it. You gave a demo last time. I can't exactly remember what it was.
Yeah, of course. So you can run kubectl get service.
Okay.
And what we want to take a look at here is the Grafana service. So production F5 Grafana.
Okay. Am I describing it?
Well, we can either port forward or we can modify your host file with the IP and domain name that we registered for it. Let's just do a port forward.
I
Yeah,
think so, yeah.
let's keep it simple.
kubectl
Port dash forward,
port
SVC, blah, blah, blah.
forward SVC. Oops. And then what's the port number? Does it matter?
Well, you're going to want to do 8080:80. So we're saying we want to make
80.
port 80 in the service or pod available locally on port 8080.
Perfect. Sounds good. Interesting why it says 80 to 3000. Is that some magic it's doing? Let's have a look.
No, that's peculiar. Oh no, yeah, oh yeah, I'm being very silly. So when you port forward to the service, it actually picks one of the pods and then it resolves the service port to the target port. So that is correct.
Oh, that is correct. Okay, I exited it. Oops, I've busted it now. Okay, there we go. We're back again. Okay, so 8080 doesn't work. That doesn't look good.
Okay, let's just try forward into the pod. Run kube control get pods, yeah. And then port forward to the Grafana pod.
Where's Grafana? I can't see it. Oh, there we go. This one? No, that says Grafana in it. Is that?
Yep, that's right. Yep, that's the one.
Yep, okay.
And it could just be as simple as I've got the port numbers the wrong way around on the port forward command. I don't remember.
No problem.
So just delete all of that and paste the pod name. You don't need to prefix it.
Okay. And then is it the same ports?
Port 3000 for Grafana, yeah.
Oh, 3000. Okay. Let's see if we get the right way around. It looks right. Local
It does look right. 8080 to
yeah.
3000, yeah. Okay.
It's can we describe the pod? Will that give us the port it's running on?
Yeah, let's take a look.
Describe. Oh, it's 3000. Okay, I'm all out of ideas now. That's as far as my ideas go.
All right, I'm going to have to try and get your terminal working.
Okay, let me.
So, kube control. Pod.
There we go. Show it on the screen for everyone to see.
Can you control C for me? Maybe I need to export.
Yeah. I can do the export. Here we go. There you go.
All right.
I'll let you drive after.
Control -IT.
Oh, that didn't come through. Lost it.
All right. I'm just going to have to dictate. We're going to exec into the Grafana pod. So kube control exec, the name of the pod.
Kube control exec, the name of the pod.
And then bash. And sorry, you'll need -IT before the pod name. So that means interactive and assign a TTY. That'll need to be before the pod name. Everything after the pod name runs in the container.
Like so?
Yep.
Let's do it.
So now try curl HTTP localhost 3000. Try wget. I'm sure one of them's there.
I don't think so. I had this problem last time, I think. Oh, it does. Okay.
Yeah.
Permission denied. That's not good.
Try ps space aux. Ban a server. Interesting that we get a permission denied on that. Try ps space aux ww. No space.
Like so?
Yep.
Okay, that's a new one for me.
Well, normally it turns off the wrapping on the command, but not today. Interesting. Type apt.
APT.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I want to know what distribution this is. So just, try APK. All right. So it's Alpine. So do APK space add space double dash dash update. Curl space curl. Yeah. Oh, we're not root.
Can we get to root?
No. Well, you mean try
won't
sudo issue, but I don't think it's going to work.
We won't have the password, right? Oh,
Yeah,
sudo command not found.
All right. So that root. I'm curious why it's not working. Let's control D this.
It did work last time.
Do the port forward again.
To the pod or
either or. I'm not fussed. Yeah, that's fine. And then a new tab. Try curl-v localhost 8080. I want to see what's actually coming back from the server, because sometimes Safari can hide this stuff.
Yeah, sure.
Hey, we got a response. Yeah, that's perfect.
Interesting.
So try the browser again.
It's gonna work, isn't it? Let me just. I have no other terminal running. I restarted before the live stream, so I have nothing else running. I've just tried Chrome on my other screen, and it still didn't work. Got the same thing as Safari. But I've got the what do you call it? The icon up there. Right? Is that the right icon? I think it is.
No, I'm not sure. What's the actual URL? Is it HTTP or HTTPS?
HTTPS. So maybe without.
Yeah.
I didn't put in the S, but it must have maybe autocomplete, kind of not redirected, because it probably wasn't a redirect, but from my history or something. Okay, so how do I log in?
Admin.
Okay, admin.
And then we'll need to go to the terminal to get the password.
Okay.
So run kube control get secrets.
Control get secrets.
Yep.
All of the secrets.
All the secrets.
And
then there should be something called Grafana initial admin password. Oh, you'll need to export your config in this session, I think.
Oh, it's a new tab. Yeah, let me just come back to this one. Here we go. I've got it here. Oh, I've lost it.
Kube control get secrets.
Control get secrets.
All right. So what we want access to here is the production Grafana.
Here we go. This one. Oh, that's Loki Grafana.
Yep, it's up a bit more. So production-F5310AA6.
Oh yeah, here we go. This one?
Yeah, let's get that secret.
And how do we do that? Get secret and then name?
And then the name, yep, and then -o YAML.
Oh, YAML.
All right, this password is a base64 encoded password. So you can do base64-D and then paste that in.
Base64-D.
Hit return. Yeah, you're going to need to delete that. Do base64-D, hit return. So Control W to delete the password.
Sorry, say that again.
Control W.
Control W, what's that?
Delete word.
Oh, okay.
And then hit return.
Oh, I see. I pasted it in before.
And then paste the password and then do Control D.
Oh, I see. Got you. And then use Control D. Okay, got you.
There's the password. Sans percentage.
So with the percentage. Okay.
No, sans without. That is right. You're making me doubt myself.
So
no percentage.
No percentage.
No
okay.
percentage. No percentage.
Okay. Yeah, so up to there.
Yeah.
Okay. Let's have a look. Hope everyone's following along and remembering, because I'm going to need this after the live stream. Okay, so we've got access.
We do.
Show me the data. Do we have any data in here yet?
So if we go to settings and data sources.
Settings.
Bottom left. Data sources. You've went to the home settings. So go back a page. The bottom left cog.
Oh, got you. My mistake. Yeah.
And then data sources.
Yep.
Add. Loki.
Oh, there you go, with a K. Yep, okay.
Yep. And we need the service name. So you need to run kube control get service. He's like, whoa, and copy.
Get services.
Let's go with the Loki read headless. So just copy that.
Okay.
And it's HTTP Loki read headless port 3100. So in the URL there.
This one.
Yep, http://paste:/3100.
3100. Okay.
And then run test. Save and test.
Save and test. Okay. Unable to fetch labels.
All right. We'll go back to the terminal. What was the service details? Yeah, port 3100.
Read headless.
Okay, let's just try Loki read rather than headless. I can explain the differences of those in a minute.
Okay.
No. All right. Let's try Loki. No, it is that one. Let's go back if I missed the config option.
Let's check. We're in the browser for Loki.
Yeah.
Where's it gone?
With Grafana, yeah. Oh, click the... Change it back to Loki read headless for me, and then we have to tell it to do the... is there a proxy button? I can't really read it very well.
Oh, sorry. Make it a bit bigger. Oh, my backup started running again. That's probably why. So annoying. Basic auth, TLS, skip, TLS, forward auth identity with CA cert, with credentials, add header.
Okay, let's try adding skip TLS verify. It might just be that it's a self-signed certificate. Failed to call resource. All right, we're going to have to debug this too, aren't we? How did we get this working last time?
I don't know, but it definitely worked last time, and it worked straight away. Well, straight away with whatever you were kind of doing. I don't remember but I don't remember the exact details we put in. Well, we do have it on the live stream, so I can always check. But
let's try and fully resolve it. Maybe it's just a DNS issue. Okay, read. That. And then we'll need to... Oh, yeah, Marcus might be right. There could be credentials. I just assumed it would be configured without, but we can check that too. Good call, Marcus.
Shall I try the one you sent me? That one?
Yeah, we'll try the fully resolved one, and then we'll check if it is configured with authentication. I don't actually know how the Helm chart deploys it, so let's check.
No, that still failed.
Yeah, go back to the terminal.
Okay.
Run get secrets again and see if there's a Loki secret. Loki. Gateway secrets. Let's take a look at that.
Loki.
Oh, all right, okay. Let's try one more thing.
You don't want me to get the secret?
Okay, get the secret. It doesn't hurt. Let's do that.
I remember how to do it because I'm using my history. And then we get a base 64, or we don't.
Yeah, I don't think authentication, because it doesn't do that by default, which is what I was kind of expecting.
Okay.
Let's go back to the thing. So let's change it to Loki-gateway port 80.
A Loki gateway port 80. Okay.
Yeah.
Did I type it correctly?
Oh, go away, Loki. You're annoying.
Loki is annoying in the Avengers.
Run get services again. It was called Loki Gateway, right? I feel like I'm failing at life here. I'm going to pull up the docs for the Loki chart.
It is
Why am I
Loki
trying
Gateway. You are right. It is Loki Gateway. Let me just copy and paste that just to see.
on port 80, right?
It was on port 80.
Select
Yes,
the
you're
whole
right.
line.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's 80. And you always get everything right, so I'm kind of happy that you're kind of failing a bit now. So, because it's not just me who always like gets things wrong. I want to paste that in, copy and paste, just in case I made a typo. It's been like 2 hours, but no, it still failed.
Right, so I pulled up the Loki chart. I'm looking at the default values. I'm not seeing any authentication in here. Which is good. Oh, wait, off enabled true. All right, how is off configured?
With credentials, it doesn't give us any options.
Gateway basic off. All right, I'm getting closer. Oh no, the gateway off is disabled.
Okay.
Yeah, I feel like that should have worked. Now we can try one more thing and resolve it before we start debugging on the command line. Fully resolve it just in case.
With the one you sent me. Yep. Here we go.
And then turn off the skip TLS verify. I don't think it's running TLS anyway.
Okay. Going to specify the port 80?
I mean, it doesn't hurt, but we shouldn't need to.
It should default to that, right? Yeah.
Yeah. Wow. I'm going to have to watch our last video and see what we did.
It was the last one as well. The last one we did together, which was, if I go to videos, where's David's face? Oh, that's now. Why is that old? Why is that all the way down there? Oh, because it got created back then. That's quite interesting. Okay, so where's David's face before that? There we go. I don't know if anyone heard that. That was really loud for me. Like blew my ears out. Here we go.
Oh, look,
oh my god! Perfect timing. Perfect. That was absolutely perfect. Thanks, Marcus. Yeah, we're making mistakes all the time. Here we go. I can barely read that though. Let me see. Localhost 3000. Okay, now we're typing it in now. Here we go. I'm still looking perplexed, and David's still going strong. Okay, we use the gateway. Why is that quality so bad? This is, HD. Okay.
See if this works. I'll be so pissed off.
What else did we tick? So he did. That was it. And it worked. Oh, it didn't. No, it didn't work.
Oh.
Data source connected, but no labels received. That's
yeah,
a
that's
different
correct.
error.
Yeah.
Oh,
so
really?
That worked.
Low-key gateway. Wait a second. We did try that.
Oh, we did try that. Yeah.
Low-key gateway. No port, nothing. And that was also HTTP. I'm pretty sure it's very hard. The quality is quite low. But I'm pretty sure it's just HTTP. And now it's going to work. Oh, I thought it did for a second.
Oh, no, wait, look. So it's saying fault to fatal resource, but it's still the labels it's failing about. Okay. Right.
So that's a good thing, right?
Yeah.
Because isn't that what happened last time? And then I don't know what you did next afterwards to fix it.
Yeah, let's tune back in.
Okay, we did get pods. Okay, we had a laugh about something. It's like I've got it muted. I can. Okay, so interesting why you deleted the pod though. Oh, because you wanted the error. I think you wanted the logs to come in.
Oh yeah, so we probably just don't have any logs yet. So yeah, let's go delete a pod. Maybe that was the thing.
Okay, let's delete a pod. I'm scared now. Let's do it. Okay, what pod shall we delete?
You can delete anything that spits out anything. So try deleting link free. We can delete Nginx. You can delete the whole cluster. I'm not that bothered.
I am. Spent the last 2 hours building it. kubectl delete pod. This one. Huh? Oh, it's not the pod. It's a service. Silly me. Get pods. Let's delete this pod. And then we do this.
And it definitely logs when it starts up, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
9% sure.
Okay, let's try going to Grafana and clicking the big button again.
Which big button?
The save one.
Oh, the save and test. That will be it. I'm able to fetch labels from Loki.
All right, let's pull the Loki logs. Let's actually see. I mean, it should just show me them in the browser through your Grafana. But
so how do I get the Loki logs?
run get pods, and then you're going to want to put kube control logs on the Loki gateway.
Kube control logs. On this one?
Mm-hmm.
Is that the right command? Did I miss anything out?
Yeah, this is a.
Hit it. Maybe it's time to call it a day. It's been a long week for all of us, I think.
So the problem here, and this would be why Loki's not working as well.
Okay.
So the way that we get logs is by speaking to the API server or the kubelet, at least on each of the nodes. You can't speak to the kubelet right now, and the way that we get around this is to deploy another resource. I don't know how hard that is to deploy, but we can maybe deploy. Did we do it for DigitalOcean, or did they just do it for us?
I don't think we did anything. My memory's terrible, but I don't think we did anything special. So I'm guessing they did it for us.
Let me find the Helm chart, and we'll try it quickly. If it doesn't work, we'll fix a few things offline and do another stream later. But let's see if I can get the Helm chart quickly.
Okay.
Civil don't deploy this by default. Although I'm pretty sure I've run kube control logs on a Civil cluster before. So I'm a little confused.
I'm still laughing at hit it. Let's go. Yeah, we all get stuck. Things are great when they work first time, but it is very rare. And Cody Monkey says, "You've got this." Yes, we got
it. Okay.
While Dave is looking this up, is everyone ready for Hacktoberfest? I hope you're ready. It's going to be fun. And I think there's some other challenges going on in Hacktoberfest month as well. Lots of companies have joined together and doing other swag giveaways. So I'll share more information on that soon.
Can you try and get can you run get pods, get all namespaces again, please?
Yeah. With the A at the end. Like so.
Yeah, try running the logs on civil CSI. You'll need -n kube system and then the pod name.
Okay. Dash, sorry.
N
Oh, yeah. And then
kube
cube
system and pod name. That's working. Okay, let's try another pod. Maybe we just got really unlucky. Because I'm sure I've got logs from civil clusters before without installing connectivity, and I don't really want to go down that route if we don't need to, because it's a pain in the ass. Let's try and get the logs from Loki read or write 0.
Read or write 0. It's in default, so I don't need a namespace. We've got stuff.
Let's try the gateway again.
It's going to work this time, isn't it? Loki, was it just gateway? I can't see where gateway is. Loki gateway. This one? The whole thing?
Yeah, that one, yeah.
It's going to work. It worked. That was good, right?
Yeah.
What did I
Let's scroll up. Do you see any error message there?
Oh, sorry.
No, it's just...
Looks good. No,
yeah, that looks fine.
I want to know what I ran before. Maybe I typed it in wrong. Gateway.
Oh, the logs pod.
Maybe that's why.
Yeah, I don't know what that one does. Let's try that one again.
You want to try that one again?
Yeah.
Okay, what was that one on? This one. So 94. I lost it. 94.63. No, it worked that time. There was a glitch in the matrix.
I think we got very unlucky.
It's a live stream. Of course we're going to be unlucky.
Okay.
Thanks, Marcus, for Googling and helping out. Love that.
Let's try the Grafana button again.
Okay. Let's do it. We're feeling lucky.
All right. So let's see if we can find that error message now.
Okay. It'll be on the gateway logs, this one?
Yeah, I think so. Very slow.
Can we tail it?
Oh, there's nothing there. Let's try the other the Loki one.
So that was the gateway logs one. And
yeah, let's try
oh, there's another logs one.
Yeah, let's do that one. We could have used the label selector, but there's only 2, so let's just try it.
Okay.
I can't see because of the comment.
Oh, sorry. I forgot to left the comment up.
Yeah, that looks fine too. Cool.
Also, I want to see on kubectl tail logs of a pod. I wonder if I can do that. So you can do F. Okay, perfect. So let's try that. F. Make some space. And then go back to the browser. If I hit save and test, nothing came in. And if I do the other one,
so it could be that Loki doesn't have any logs yet. So maybe Promtail's not working. Can you run get pods again?
And Marcus did say something about that, about the Promtail config. Sorry, get pods again, yep.
Yeah, and then let's see if we're getting an error message from Promtail production.
Okay, so tell the logs. Oh, sorry,
Yeah.
get the logs. Oh.
Yeah, we might just find that it's not actually writing to Loki, and that would be our problem. Ah.
Sending error. Oops.
Okay. So Loki is working. There are no labels. The problem is the Promtail's getting a 401 authorized, and it's saying there's no org ID. So let's look at the Helm chart for Promtail. I found a problem.
What was it?
Go to the code.
Is it a trap?
Click on deploy Promtail. Command click on it.
Deploy Promtail. Okay. Oh yeah, we have. Oh shit. And we put a to do in there, and that's why I had like to do, because then we have where's my to do tab? Here we go. Look, to do. Loki, don't get this dynamically.
That's painful.
Oh, we just wasted literally like, I don't know, 30 minutes or something on this. I don't know
Yeah.
how long. So how can we get that dynamically? And why didn't we do that before? Is it quite a hard thing to do, or we just didn't finish it? I guess maybe we ran out of time.
No, I think if you go to loki.ts, we probably have a to do there to use the full service name. Yeah, full name override Loki gateway. So we made that change, but we didn't change it in Promtail because we didn't redeploy Loki, and now we've redeployed Loki in our new cluster, but we haven't updated Promtail. So you can set the service name there to be Loki gateway.
Damn it. Shows David's only human as well. I know I'm human. I make mistakes all the time, but it shows David's only human too. So should I run an up now?
I suspect that should be okay now. Yeah.
I'm gonna do it. Let's go for it. I'm ready to hit yes. Let's go. Yes, come on. Yes. Where is it? Yes. Okay, I was there lightning fast.
That's funny.
This is not funny. I'm not laughing. I'm gonna cry after this live stream.
Well, it just shows that we had so much context last time about what we were
Yes.
doing, and then we just lost it. So.
It's true. So in theory, this should now be working, right?
Well, we'll probably need to
create some
kick the Promtail pods. The config map will have changed, but I don't think the pods would have been redeployed. So you could run kube control delete Promtail and copy the 3 production pods, please. Delete pod and then copy those 3 pod names.
Oh, delete pod. And then it's going to be... two. Where's the third one hiding? Oh, I see it lower down.
So that means that Promtail will restart. It should start writing logs. We can tail the new pods. We should see hopefully some 200s as it writes successfully to Loki, and then we should be able to configure Grafana correctly. Yeah, those are the new ones. Let's just grab the logs on one of those.
kubectl logs. Oh, error. No org ID.
I hate it when stuff that works starts to fail. But we can see the host is Loki Gateway. And the gateway doesn't have auth enabled.
I think it's probably time to call it a day. You know what? And also, before the next live stream, I can just delete it and rebuild it, and then maybe it will just work. Fingers crossed.
Let's turn on one more thing, and then we'll call it quits.
No worries.
Because it's getting late, and I do want to put my kids to bed. So let's try this one thing, and then what we'll do is I'll make some tweaks to the deployments next week, and then we'll schedule a live stream afterwards, and we'll do something a bit more fun than debugging all the time.
And I can commit and push this, so you have access to it.
So we'll go here. I'm just going to disable authentication. So if you run Pulumi up again, we're deploying Loki with off disabled. And if that doesn't kick things back in, we'll just pick it up next time.
Do I need to do some deletes again this time?
No, the gateway should be redeployed, I think. But if we need to, we can maybe delete it. We'll wait and see what Gitpod shows us in just a minute.
Okay. I think we might have, put people off Kubernetes and so forth, seeing how stuck we got. But it's interesting to see how you debug it, and I think that's quite important. How you kind of you step through it and debug it. I think although I think the previous last stream we did together, the previous one, that might have been, like you said, more fun. But I felt I learned more on this live stream because we have been stuck in debugging, and I've had to try and think with my little limited knowledge. So there are benefits for getting stuck, and everyone, we thank you for supporting us through this stuckness. But hopefully it's going to work. So what shall I check net first?
We'll run get pods
and tell the logs.
Well, let's kick those Loki gateways.
Okay. Cube ctl delete. Just the name? I can't remember. Do I put pod? Or?
Delete pod, and then just paste all the Loki gateway stuff.
Need to remember all these commands. Sometimes I'm not sure if it needs the word pod or not, and so forth.
There's one more gateway down a wee bit.
Oh yeah, there is. Here we go.
All right. Let's see.
Okay.
You can just start tailing prom tail, and we want to see some happy messages soon.
Okay. Everyone, what do you think out of 10? Is it gonna work or not?
You can control C the deletes. You don't actually need to wait. The API server will handle them.
I can do what? Sorry, I can close it. I cancel it. Control C.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. Right. Let's have a look.
Obviously, the answer here is not to disable authentication, but to configure prom tail to successfully authenticate. But that's work I can do offline. I'd like to try and see if we can get something working here.
Nope.
Oh, let's just give it a minute.
Give it a minute, no problem, I don't mind.
Run get pods again.
Server says no. Come on, get pods.
Is all the gateways happy? They are.
Seem to be good.
And run the prom tail again, the logs. Yeah, it's not going to change off of 401, is it? All right, I've got some work to do on your cluster, Eddie.
No worries. After my dinner, I'll push up the code, and when you get time, you can have a look. And if anyone else wants to have a look, I'll put it in a branch, and then I'll update the README to say what we're working on, which branch we're working on. But thank you everyone so much for your support. I am, really appreciate you being here, and. Yeah, let me share David's YouTube again. Actually, I've put a little ticker on the bottom, so I can actually do that right now. Here we go. And there's obviously a link in the description below as well. David, thank you so much. I really appreciate you taking the time out of your busy schedule. And I hope all your adventures go well. I'll have to catch up on your Twitter posts and see what's happening there. And I probably added to your notifications today as well, because I tagged you in something too.
Awesome. Thank you very much. It's been fun. And lots more fun stuff for us to do in the next session.
Sounds good. Looking forward to it. Any closing notes you'd like to say?
No, just Kubernetes is difficult. I've been doing this for 6-7 years. The landscape is evolving. These projects change. I mean, I think today we've seen that a Helm chart has evolved in the month since we last did things, and you always got to keep up to date with this stuff. So it can be a bit of a challenge. But I hope that the commands we're showing you help people learn Kubernetes more, learn how to debug stuff, And if you want to learn even more, join us at Cube Huddle in Edinburgh on October 3rd and 4th.
Yes, we'll see you all there in person, in the flesh. Can't wait. I'll be there with my camera and laptop.
Awesome. Looking forward to it.
Awesome. Thank you. Thank you, Marcus, for your support, and everyone else. Yeah. And thanks all for being patient as we struggle through, but we'll make the next one more rewarding, if that's the right word, more successful, hopefully. Fingers crossed. Thanks, everyone. Bye. I usually bring up a holding page. Here we go. Bye.